Okay, we'll get started in just a second here. Good morning, morning, morning. Hope everyone's doing okay. Going to build or pick up on where we left off yesterday with a full stack nextjs application using the latest version of Next, local storage, and a few other things to bring it to life. Good morning, everyone. One moment here. Just building a Next.js application, and we use Next as the framework for our front and back. And then we'll be using a little local storage to kind of help us with persisting the data. And with that, I think we can jump in and get started. So just to kind of pick up where we left off, we have a full stack Next.js application. And with it, we have a simple header. We just named it fullstack. React icon. React.
And using a little bit of tailwind to do gradient.
Using a little bit of tailwind to do design. Add a little border, which will close out the header.
We have a weekly
Then we have a weekly toggle.
That on click toggles
between
the
weeks.
Start of the week being at
With
Sunday,
the
the end of the week being at Saturday.
And the end of the
We
week
left off
being
by
at.
adding a tab.
And then we left off by adding
where
a
we can
tab,
on
title view or progress view,
and allow us
and then allow us
toggle
to
between different views.
toggle between different views. And once we
add habits, you'll see the different states in which
you'll see the different states and
will be viewed
the layout
based upon the view that you click on. So we have a little more code to do with that. Hey man, good morning, man.
So we have a little more code this morning.
Just picking up where we left off on yesterday. Full stack application using Next.js, the latest version, and we're also including to help persist the data.
Local storage to help persist the data.
Questions, let me know. But otherwise,
so if you have any questions, let me know. But otherwise, I'm sure to. Which I think we'll finish today, but I'm not sure. I gotta work. It just felt like it's a little bit more, so I gotta go live while doing it. So I think we're kind of at a point now where we need to set up, or basically just going to give us the ability to store data. And I'm going to use
the React Content API to kind of help with that since we're not connecting it to a traditional backend. So I think we can go ahead and get started with that.
So I think we can go ahead and jump at one minor adjustment to this that I didn't show the camera.
Go ahead and make sure this is
The
running. Adjustment that I made was for the tab switcher.
I had the value as daily view and progress view. But with this, remember, it needs to mirror
what we have listed here. So because I have daily and progress,
daily and progress, or daily and non-daily listed here, then I have daily
or daily view, daily progress view. But change that so that now it just reflects daily and progress, and now it shows the way it should. I included that for those that may be
I want to make sure
interested
that I
in
am
following
following
along.
along.
So let me see if
So
this
let
is
me
working.
see if this is
I know
working.
that this is going to probably
I know
keep
that
a
this is going
hydration
to
error for right now
a hydration
based on the
right now
date format.
based
Well,
on
it
the
can, but that's okay. If it does, we'll compare it to the
format.
classic.
Well,
Just want to
just want to kind of put that out there as
we
well,
may get a
that
hydration
we
error,
may get a
but
hydration
we'll
error
address
for
it
right
and make sure that it works properly once we are
so that it works properly once we're
Let's go ahead and jump in and
100%
get
complete
started
with
at
this part.
We'll
Go.
So let's go to the root of the project and add a directory name lib.
Directory name
Inside of
lib.
it, going to add a file name
Add a file name habit context.
.tsx, and this will be where we'll store we'll create
our
database,
database, if you will, for local storage and state
using a few React hooks to kind of help us with this.
React hooks.
So we will need some front-end React hooks to
So we will need some
bring this
front-end
to life.
React
So we'll
hooks.
start by marking this as use client. And we'll need a few imports to help bring this to life. So we'll start by bringing in React. This is
React
from React. In addition to that, we'll need create context. We'll use context, and I'll explain these as we actually use state. React node.
I think it's React node. Yep, React node. Okay.
And these are going to allow us to store persist data
within the application, since we're not connecting this to a traditional backend just yet. We'll probably do that in a upcoming video, but for right now, this will be suffice. Then with the imports in place, we'll need to build the structure of our habit. So we'll do a export
because we need to access this not just within this file.
Not
This
just
will be named a habit.
This will be named a habit,
and we'll need a ID, which will be the unique
identifier.
We'll have a name, which will be what we'll name the habit itself. The logs will be records of the habit, and for the logs, it's basically just
the habit, and for the logs, it's basically just
Boolean. So
the
we'll
day
store
itself.
day as a string.
Boolean, so we'll
if it
store the day
was complete, will just be a Boolean. So that's where we'll select checkbox to represent whether we completed the habit on that day or not. So we'll need to bring in an additional dependency to kind of help with this, primarily because we want to be able to generate a new ID, each habit, a random one. This code
we could write this code from scratch and have it automatically increment.
There's simpler ways to do it, and we'll be using package named UUID. So in the terminal, we'll open up a second terminal for right now. Just type in the command npm UUID and press enter. Give it a few minutes to finish installing.
Just a full stack next out this morning. I started on it yesterday and picking up on where we left off on yesterday today. Right now, in the process of building out what we'll refer to as the database, which is going to give us the ability to store, create, delete, and update our habits, since we're not connecting to a external data storage just yet. And the habit context is going to be the file that helps us, that serves as the brain or the database of the project. So we'll store the habits in an empty array, and we'll use the API to kind of help with some CRUD functionality as well. Yeah, but that's basically it. It Yeah, it's going to be full stack. So, great question. You wouldn't be able to deploy this because it is using local storage and it's using the local browser, and it would require some additional configuration. So it wouldn't be as simple as going to Vercel, importing the information, the repo, and then publishing it to the web. It'd be a little more involved in that, but you absolutely can deploy this. In addition to, I may deploy it later on with Convex if it's something that you may be interested in. So just let me know. Yep. Yeah, this is pretty much it. Hmm. Right. I would assume so. I don't think it's very complicated at all. Just requires a little bit of due diligence and patience with it. So with that, let's go ahead and build out the interface of our tracker. So we'll go interface, and we'll just call this habits context type. And we'll have a habits. This will be a empty array, and eventually it will store our habits. And we'll go add habit, which will be what we'll use to add a habit. And we'll be passing in a name, which will be a string. And of course, we'll set this function to void. We'll also need delete habit. When we delete a habit, we'll be passing in the ID just as we would with anything else. And the other good thing is we're writing this in a way that's going to make it easy to, sorry, this should be void. That'll make it easy to switch this over to a database. All we'll need to do is update the CRUD functionality within this file, because the function names won't actually change. That's going to make it a lot easier in the event we do decide to transition this to an actual database to storage itself. And then for update, we'll just call it toggle today. And this will either be a ID of string, and then we'll go, the date will be stored as a string. We'll pass this in. Okay. And I'll also just go ahead and import the UUID functionality. Actually, let's do it like this to make sure I'm not missing anything. So we'll import from UUID. And what we are grabbing is, I think it's V4, yep, as, and I think this is UUID V4. Okay. And now let's create the context that we'll be using to wrap our application to give it access throughout. So first we'll go const habits context, CONTEX. That's going to be equal to create context, and this will be habits context type or undefined. I think this needs to be, parentheses. Let's see. Yep, this is syntax for this, that. There we go. So basically what we're doing is we're creating the habits context, and we'll be using this to wrap our application once we finish this out. But basically we're creating this, and with type safety, we're saying we either have the habits context or we're going to pass in undefined. Next up, we'll create the export habits provider. So we'll go export const habits provider. It's going to be equal to children. And for this is going to be children, and we'll set it to React Node. This is just helping us with type safety. And then inside of the function, we're going to use state to manage the state of our array and to actually hold the habits within empty array. So we'll go const, and set the curly braces, we'll make it equal to use state. And what we'll be passing in is a habit. Be sure to include the array. And we'll either pass in a habit or it'll be an empty array. And then for the state variable names, we're just going to name it habits and set habits. Yes. So first, we'll care for the ability to get or load a habit in the event we have one from storage. So with this one, we'll use effect to help with that. So we'll say use effects.
Inside of it, we're passing const, and we'll just name this
Inside of it, we're passing const, and we'll just name this variable.
It's going to be equal to local storage item. And what we'll be getting are habits. We'll just say if stored habits. If we have stored habits, we're going to set them, and mainly what we want to do is we want to parse that data to JSON so that we can get it back from the browser. So that we can get JSON.parse, and then what we're passing in are the stored habits. This looks good, and of course we'll need to pass in an empty array. This looks good. JSON.ts. Make sure I spelled that right. No, it's not looking for. Just want to make sure I spelled it correctly because it would be the simplest things that will. I want to try not to fall victim to that if I can help it. There. So that will care for saving the habit that'll care for loading or getting the habits from
loading or
storage.
getting the habits from local storage.
Now we could just put
Now
the main thing. We'll say load habits from local storage.
local storage.
Now we'll need to care for the ability to save habits. This would be create. With this one, we'll go use effect.
With this one, we'll go use effect.
Pass in local storage, and the method for this one will set item. We'll get access to the habit. We'll save them as JSON stringified into the array.
Save them as JSON habits.
And then of course with this,
in the
array we're going to pass in habits.
In the array we're going to pass in habits.
Underneath it, we'll go const add habit.
We'll go const add habit.
That's going to be equal to the name
and string.
Inside of the array, we'll go const new habit. It's going to be equal to
I'm sorry, this is going to be
colon habit.
Colon.
So be the object.
We'll set the ID to
ID v4. This is going to give us the unique identifier, which will be the string.
Then we'll go name.
We'll create a empty logs array to store for logs object to store the boolean if it is updated or if it is or not on set day. We'll set habit. Pass in the parentheses inside of it, which is basically calling the function. Previous.
It was saying previous. What is name of previous?
Star pre, destructure it, or new. So this is good. Everything looks good with it. It's just the backend for this fullstack nextjs habit track application. So the backend for it is going to consist of local storage management to kind of help
React state management to kind of help actual
external application.
Eventually will connect eventually complex backend right now.
And what we have thus far is an application we built a header and a logo
named post tracker that we're using a React
some gradient color
made a post tracker and gave it there a few words. And we have a weekly calendar using nextjs to help with formatting this, allowing us to tap into some of the methods that it
offers. After that, we've added a tab switcher so that we can toggle between a daily view and a progress view, what is in the form of our preference at that moment. So now we're ready to kind of start the views. So now also the ability to add a habit. So instead of jumping straight into that, we're going to add the local storage. essentially the back end,
which is
and then
essentially the back
our
end,
focus to
and then we'll shift our
bringing that
focus
logic
to
into the application. So that's kind of a quick rundown
now
of
what we've done so far and what we are to this point with the project.
So we have the ability to get, we have
We have the ability to get,
add,
we have the ability to
delete. So we'll go delete habits
so we'll go delete.
storage.
Like I said, the cool thing about this
once
is
we're ready to add this to
a actual database, all we need to do is update this file, and that'll make it a lot easier because the functions will update
and the same functions will remain in place.
So we'll go const delete habit. It's going to be equal to,
need the ID of it, which is,
we delete the habit, we're going to need the ID of it, which is the
just basically
unique identifier,
which is grabbing
and then we'll just basically call a quick function.
We'll filter down just the habit that has the corresponding ID. And then once we have it, we'll just remove it from
this should be sorry about that.
This will go out here. This will be habit ID.
This will be habit ID.
There we go.
ID. Last but not least, we're ready to add the ability to update.
Can you hear me now? Let me know if you can.
Hear me now, man.
If that's any better, I'm sorry. Audio was off.
I didn't realize the audio was off. Let me know if that's any better, man.
So now we'll go update habits from local storage. This will be updates.
And then with that,
we will just go. Is it any better now?
Just let me know. Sorry about that.
With that, we'll
go const
toggle day. And it will pass in the ID
of the habit. And we'll also pass in a date because it's going to be either Monday through Friday in addition to, Sunday through Saturday in addition to the actual date of the week. And we'll go set habits is equal to previous. And we'll go previous.map to map over the habits. JBI2. And we'll go habits ID is equal to ID. I got some syntax off here, but hold on, let me finish this first. Inside of that, we'll destructure the habit, and this will be stored in the logs, of course. So we'll go habit.log. A little bit. Set habits. Then we'll go pre.map. And we'll go habit.id is equal to ID.
There we go.
Sorry about that. So basically what we have is we're just saying that we're going to, in order to update the habit, we're going to pass in the ID and the date that we want to update using a little bit of state. Going to map over the habit, and where the habit ID matches, we're going to capture it, destructure it, and we're going to add the date to the logs of the habit. And remember, we're storing the logs as a empty object so that we can leverage, so that we can store the dates with the numerical value and the actual string value as well. And then we'll use that to store within the calendar and also store the actual whether we completed the habit or did not complete that habit on the day. And remember, that's just going to be a Boolean. So that will kind of care for that. And then finally, right before we close out this file, we need to return this. And remember, this is going to be the context API. So we'll just add a habit. Remember, we need to wrap the application with this. So we'll go habits context.provider. That's what we named it. I'm just going to pass in the children for right now.
Value.
And for the value, we're going to pass in the name of the functions that are, or variables that are managing the functions to give us the correct capability. Sorry, I think I auto-corrected to toggle data versus toggle day. Sorry about that. But we have the CRUD capability now, we're passing that in. So now we're just going to add a export so that we can use this throughout the app, and then we'll wrap our application with it. All right, so with that, we basically have the ability to export this data throughout the application. Hey there, what's going on? How you doing this morning? Let me know if you're experiencing any audio issues. I think I've corrected it, but if not, let me know. But with that, we basically just set up a external, we've set up our local storage database that's going to give us the full CRUD functionality throughout the application. The ability to get all habits, which will be habits, add habit to add a habit, toggle day, which will be the update, delete habit, of course, will be to delete. So with that, now we're ready to wrap the application with this provider. And again, we're just using React's front-end hooks to kind of make this happen. We'll wrap our application with this provider, and then we'll be able to use these functions throughout the app to complete out the CRUD functionality. So let's go ahead and work on that now. So inside of the app directory, we're going to click on the main layouts, not the additional layout that we added within the route grouping. And in this file, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and
the provider, and we're just going to
wrap
it throughout the entire
and we're just going to wrap it throughout the entire application. Now, the reason why I'm doing it with
creative is because I want
and
to
not
make sure
I keep the ability to
use this throughout
use
the
this throughout the entire application. In the event we add additional routes,
that layout is only
route
going to be
grouping,
specific to
that
this.
layout is only going to be
route
specific.
grouping. In the main layout, we're going to have the ability to
In the main layout
throughout the entire application. So that's going to be the biggest difference between layouts. And I'm going to pass this throughout the entire app. So we're going to add a couple things. We're going to log in first.
So
we want the ability to give notifications once a habit is updated, deleted, created. I like to use Sauna. You can use React Hot Toast, so React for the project. I want to use Sauna. I think it is S-A-N-E-R.
I think it is R.
So I'll install that now.
So I'll install that now.
Great. And then I guess we could have made this within the color layout directly, but if we do change it, we're set up for success. So let's go ahead and import. So we'll go import habit provider and make sure it's coming from @lib/habit contacts. And inside of the body, we'll just go ahead and bring in the habit provider. And be sure to pass in the children. We'll click save. And now that gives us access to the provider through the application. To give us the ability to update, delete habits throughout the app. So we should be able to close out the context provider. And I think next we can shift our focus to building out more of the front end. And let me think for a second. Do we want to add additional tab information? Yeah. So let's do this. If we don't, let's go ahead and bring in the habits. So within the page.tsx file, let's go ahead and get access to the habits. The entire suite of CRUD functionality. So at the top, I'm just going to import use habits. Excuse me, and that's going to come from /lib habit contacts. And then underneath the first variable, we'll just go local storage habits. And we'll go const and set it equal to, let's go const curly braces and set it equal to use habits. And then the functions are habits, add habits, or habit, delete habit, and also toggle day. Sorry, it helps if I actually call this. Okay. And in the event we don't have any habits, I want to create a empty state. So I'm going to set it here and say const show empty state. We're just going to set this equal to habits.length. The length is equal to 0. We don't have any habits. So at that point, we don't have any habits. Empty state. At that point, we want to show. So now let's add a little bit of JavaScript inside of our JSF. So we currently have a tab for if it is. We currently have the rendering for delete for right now. I'm just going to delete we'll reset right up now. In a minute, but first we want to start by showing an empty state. In the event we don't have any habits. If we do have habits, we'll say no habits. If we have habits, we're going to show something. There we go. All right. So for this first step, if we don't have any habits, which should be the state that we're in right now, we're going to show something. If we have habits, first we're going to show if it is weekly, we're going to show something. If it is weekly, if it is daily in progress. If it is daily, we'll show something. And if it is daily in progress, if it is daily, Let me know if that audio is any better now. Sorry about that. Let me know if it's any better now. My apologies about the audio. I'm gonna give it a second just to see if it's any better and try something else. Sorry about that. Good morning. Good. Yeah, sorry about that, everybody. Thank you for giving me the feedback. Let me know if it's any better now. I'm hoping that it is. I didn't realize it was acting up again. I thought it cleared up. I invested it in a new mic to try to clean the sound up a little bit, realizing it wasn't great or good. Thought I was making it better. Okay, it's a little better now, man. Thanks for giving me a heads up. So we will proceed on if it is better now. Let me just make sure because I don't want to. My apologies about that. But if this works better, we'll just keep it this way for right now. So I already have a empty state message with a icon, and we will go ahead and utilize it to show something in the event we don't have a habit. So in this initial state, I currently have a fragment. In place right now, but we'll just update this to a div because we are going to need to give it some styling. So we'll go div with a class name of flex, and the direction will be set to column. And we'll also center the items on the x-axis. Also on the y, we'll give it a small gap of 3. Set the text to neutral, NETURL 500. And we'll just add a little transition duration of 300. And since we are being fancy and adding in some animation, we'll go animate fade in. Okay. And then inside the div, I'm just going to paste in a div. But the main reason I'm pasting is because I have a little emoji there. And you can see it there on screen because we don't have any habits. And then underneath that emoji, I'm going to add a p tag just for some text. We'll say no habits to display. And then just save it to make sure that it's showing. Yep. And we'll style this text a little bit. We'll go class name on hover. I'm gonna set the text color to cayenne 300. We'll say transition colors. Make the duration on this 200 and make it cursor pointer. So it is URSOR. Yep, pointer. Click save. And then as you can see, that's what we get. So now let's go ahead and add the ability to create a new habit. So we'll begin to use the context API add habit from our local storage. We'll use that to kind of help with this. Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, later on this evening, I'm going to do some JavaScript, no framework project. I'm thinking of either doing something with the API or maybe something with an event listener. But if you have something you'd like for me to cover, just let me know. The way I like to do it is I like to read from the documentation to kind of give the overall foundation, and then we'll kind of jump into some code and what it actually looks like, and so that way we get the understanding of how to read the documentation, interpret it, and then leverage it into actual code. So, yeah, car lover, if there's anything, brother, just let me know, man. I'll be happy to cover just some vanilla JavaScript. I planned on doing it this afternoon, so if it's a topic in particular, just let me know, and I got you. Yep, sure will. So now I just want the ability here to add a new habit, and I'm going to use a model to help with that because I intend to use it in more than one space in the project. We're going to show it here on the empty state, and when we actually have a habit, I'm going to include the button in a different position as well. So let's go ahead and work on that new habit button now. So this will be new habit button will be listed there. So in the UI directory, let's add a file named new habit btn.tsx. Yes, sir. I got you, brother. We'll do it this afternoon. I'll just pick a topic. We'll keep it light where I'm not actually doing so much of coding, and I can answer questions now. A lot of this is just practice and just want to put a project out there, but I don't have to explain this. It's not that serious. So if you got anything, just ask away. I'll be happy to answer. I'm here for you, baby. Let me know. Um, let's jump in here. So this will need to be use client because we're going to have some client side activity. We'll go ahead and create the arrow function so that we can export it. And we'll go new habit btn, click save, and we'll just import it into the page.tsx file, import new habit btn, click save. I'm just going to replace, if I could talk, this text with the actual component. Click save, and then now we have it listed there. Perfect. So with this, we'll go back to we can close out the calendar. We'll go back to the new habit btn file. Going to need a few things to help us with this. First will be use state, and that's going to manage the state of the. No, it's going to be this today. Give me I'm US man, Eastern Standard Time. If you can give me to about 6:30 today, we'll be on later on this evening for a few hours, and it'll be all Q&A. Yep, I absolutely will. I got you, car lover. So just lock in with me, man. Give me a little bit of faith and some of your attention this afternoon, and I promise I got you. So let's go ahead and import some icons. The first one, well, they'll be coming from Lucid React, but the first one is going to be a plus, and we'll go loader 2. And then last, I'm going to bring in Sonar, and I need to make sure that I import this into the main layout as well. So I have the toast indicator listed there, but I don't think I brought it into the main layout. So let me go ahead and do that now. That's the website layout. That was for demonstration. So we'll come here. So at the top of the layout.tsx file that's within the app directory, not the website grouping, let's bring in the toaster. This is coming from Sana. And this is strictly optional, but I just like to have it in the app. I'm going to bring in the toaster and set the position of this to top right. That's correct. Yep, it's 8 a.m. in the U.S. And it'll be 6 p.m. this evening. Yeah, man, I gotta I gotta work today, man. I'm sorry. If I ain't have to work today, I would I would do it much sooner as soon as I'm done with this. But I gotta work for a few hours today. So once I get home, get settled, I'm gonna jump back in, and it's just gonna be all JavaScript Q&A. I'll make sure it's in the title, and like I said, we'll build something light that doesn't require a lot of attention, but mainly it's just gonna focus on JavaScript. And if it's a topic like event listeners, on-click handlers, state, local storage API, whatever it is, just let me know. I'll be happy to cover it under the JavaScript umbrella. So just let me know. But yes, this evening today. Okay. And so we'll close out this layout for right now and shift our focus back to the button. So a couple things I want to do with this button. I want to first off have the ability to show a model, but I'm also going to need the ability to pass in some information into this button as a prop. So first we'll set the interface for TypeScript, and we'll just call it new habit btn props. And all we're going to pass in is on add. And this is going to be coming from the local storage function that we created. The name will be a string, and we'll set the function to void. This shouldn't be curly braces. This should be parentheses. There we go. And then we'll need to update this function a little bit for TypeScript because of the way we're rendering it. We'll go react.fc, new habit btn props, and close it up. And then inside of this, we'll just pass in on add. And of course, it's yelling at us right now because it's expecting a prop and we haven't passed anything into it. And like I said, this is actually going to be just coming from the local storage function that we created earlier. So all we'll need to do is just pass in the yes. Yep. Yep. Sure can. I sure can. So I'll see you then, my brother. Absolutely. I got you, man. Had I knew, I would have been prepared, but I will be I'll do it tomorrow morning this time. That's not a problem at all. So we just need to pass in the props of on add, and the function we're passing in is add habit, and that satisfies that error message. And we actually don't need to go back to the page for right now. We're going to spend a little bit of time on this function or this component. So we'll update the div and shift it over to a fragment and add in a button. The button will have the plus sign icon. I'm just going to give it a class name to set the width to 4, the height to 4, and we'll make the text color Cayenne 400. Hit save, and then we see the little plus sign right there. Let's go ahead and style this button a little bit. We'll add a class name of flex, item centered, justify center. Give it a gap of 2, a border. We'll set the border color to pound 222. Give a padding on the X, and you can see it there. We'll add some padding on the Y of 2. You see it coming to life a little bit right there. We'll go rounded medium, and we'll make the font semi-bold. Okay, and then next to this icon, I'm just going to add the text of new habit there. And now we see it on screen. So what I want is whenever we click on this button, I want a pop-up model to pop up. Thanks, brother. Have a good one, man. Appreciate the support. I want a pop-up model to appear that gives us the ability to add in it's going to give us the ability to add in a habit, but I want a pop-up model to appear on screen that gives us the ability to add text, and we'll set a dark background on click. So we'll need some state to kind of help get this across the finish line. Excuse me. So the first state variable we're going to add is going to be for the model. So the initial state of it is going to be set to false because we don't want to initially show the model. Set show model. We'll click save there. And let's go ahead and care for the showing of the model. So we'll need a little JavaScript to help us with that. If we are showing the model, we want to show something on screen. We want it to do something. And if we aren't showing the model, we know it is going to do something else as well. So in the event we are showing the model, we'll just say show model on click. Because I haven't added the on click handler yet. Sorry. Let's go ahead and do that really quick. All we need to do is, and this is some plain vanilla JavaScript, we're just using it within JSX. So we'll just do the on click handler, and this will be used to set the show model to true. So now if we click it, you see it's reading show model there on screen. And we'll click it again, we're going to show model on screen. So we see that the on click is working. Now let's kind of style this model a little bit more, or at least style the state of the model being shown a little bit more so that it appears a little bit more as a traditional model. So we'll give the initial div a class name of fix. Inset will be set to 0. We'll set the Z index to 50 so it'll be pronounced on screen. We'll set the background color to black, black 50. We'll give this a backdrop blur of small. Oh, ask any questions you want. I'm very comfortable, very versed in it with the topic. So if it's something I don't know, we'll look it up together and we'll learn it together. But any topics you have, man, anything web development, computer science, machine learning, data structure algorithms, Java, JavaScript. I've been fortunate to kind of touch quite a few things in my coding journey, trying to find myself just probably as some of you. So anything you have a question pertaining to, ask away. Go flex, set the items to centered, and we'll go justify center and set padding on the X of 4. So let's see what this looks like. And as you can see now, we kind of have a background blur, and the model, the text of show model is a lot more pronounced on screen. You can see it a lot better. So what we'll do now is we'll replace this show model with a dialog box that will allow us to show something to the user, and most importantly, have a field to enter in text. So we'll set the background color of this to neutral 900. We'll go rounded extra large. We'll set the width to full. We'll make the maximum width of this be, let's go medium. We'll give some padding of 6. Set the border, make the border color neutral, neutral 700. And we'll go shadow, shadow. We'll give the shadow large and space on the Y of 4. And let's just bring that up. So then now you see what it looks like with this initial background. And then so inside of the div, I just want to have a title. We'll set a H3. We'll go add new habit. And just to style that H3, we'll set the text to extra large, the font to bold. We'll make the text white. And we'll text center. There we go. So great. Okay, sure, we could do that. Is there anything in particular you're learning about that you'd like better clarification on? I can ask questions about variables, functions, APIs, async await, event listeners, you name it. Just just let me know what you like to be quizzed on, if you will, and I'll be prepared. Yep, no problem at all, my friend. No problem at all. So with the H3 in place, now we're ready to just add a input to input a new habit and also a button to submit it. So the first one will be a input. We'll set the type to text. The value will be the habit name, habit, which we'll need to create the function to kind of handle that. So we'll go ahead and work on that now. Yep. Yeah, just let me know. So let's go ahead and add some of that state variable first. Underneath the show model use state variable, let's add a new one. And we're going to set this one to a empty string because it's going to store the habit name, habit name. And then we'll go set habit name. So inside of this input, we'll add a value of habit name. And then we'll need a on change handler, but let's just go ahead and continue with the styling first. So we'll go give it a placeholder of enter habit name. Let's just go ahead and show that. Yep, I'm aware I need to add it. That's showing the habit name. And then now let's style the actual input. So we'll give this a width of full, padding on the X of 4, on the Y of 2. We'll set the background to neutral 800. We'll go rounded medium, outline of none. We'll set the border to neutral, neutral 700. The text will be white. And I like the placeholder color as it is, so I'll just keep it as it is. Okay. Then we'll need to add the onChange handler so React isn't upset with us. So I'm just going to go ahead and create that entire function now. So we'll go const handle save. It's going to be equal to an arrow function. I am going to add a pending state, so I'm going to go ahead and add that now. In fact, let's just go ahead and add the button so we can see it on screen. So underneath the input, we're going to add a button. The name of this will be save. We see it listed there. Just to give it some styling, we'll give it a class name with padding on the X of 4, on the Y of 2. We'll go rounded medium. The text will be neutral. NEUTRAL 400. Let's go hover. Actually, you know what? Let's change this a little bit. We'll go rounded medium. I'm gonna set the background to gradient, and I will go from left to right, and we'll go from blue 500. Stay consistent. We'll go via cayenne 400. And then go to green. I probably could have made this reusable because I've used this same code or this same styling a few times. So maybe later on we can refactor it. Set the width to full. Yeah, I know. I realize it now. Sorry. Actually, I don't like that. Let's just go with background. We'll say blue 500. Text centered. There we go. We'll make the text large. All right, that works. And we can actually reduce some of that. How about we make the Y2 better, much better. Oh yeah, variables, data types, functions, arrays, loops, DOMs, events. Yeah, absolutely. We can certainly talk through it. I'll ask you one now. What are the data types in JavaScript? Let me know in the comments. Let me know. I think we'll need a cancel button here, a way to close this out. Let me do this. I'm gonna copy this code and we'll copy it and delete it for right now. I'm going to place it inside of a div because I would like hold on. I forgot I'm in this virtual environment and some of my shortcut keys don't work. If anybody is familiar with Gitpod out there and how to get some of the shortcut keys to work, just let me know. I'll be absolutely interested. Flex, we'll go flex item centered. We'll say space on the X of 4. And let me just add a quick button This one is going to represent cancel, meaning that you don't want to add a button or add a habit, excuse me. We'll class name with a width of full. There we go. And we'll go rounded, medium, padding on the X of 4, on the Y of 2. We'll set the text to neutral 400, and that should be fine. Let me give it a border. A little border. Perfect. Border, neutral 200. NEUTRAL 200. There we go. All right. So then now we have the styling in place. Let's just add some of the functionality. So we'll need to go back and finish out the handle save function. And like I mentioned, I do want to care for a pending state. So we'll go const and set this empty array for right now equal to use state. And the initial state of the pending state will be false. And we'll just name this is creating, set is creating. Yeah, man, I'm sorry, man. I was typing something, man. But I promise you, man, I'm here, man. I was typing something. My apologies, man. But I am very familiar. Yes, so your data types, strings, booleans, numbers, integers, like those are some of the foundations that you'll want to be familiar with, because that's what's going to let you know the type of data you're receiving, and you know how to manipulate it, how to work with it, and how to present things back to the user. But yeah, I'm here, man. I'm sorry. I'm typing. All right. So we'll say if there's no habit name, we're going to use a JavaScript method, which is trim. Are you familiar with trim? That basically is going to allow you to eliminate white space from a user input. I know that might be a little too advanced for right now, but it'll be something that you'll want to be familiar with later on, because anytime you're using an input or you're capturing user input, users leave white spaces, they give incorrect characters, etc. That dot trim is going to help alleviate that. So, and in this instance, we're using it to make sure the user can't add anything. So we'll set the creating states, set is creating to true, because once we click this, once we call this handle save function, we do want to enable this. And then we'll go set timeout. This is where we'll be using on add to add the habit, and that will be the habit name, of course. We'll set the show model to false at that point because we'll no longer need to see it. We'll set is creating to false as well. At that point, we'll be ready to send a toast notification to the user, which will be success. And we'll just say habit created successfully. And we'll just give it a time of 1000 or 1 second or 1000 milliseconds, so that it is a little delay there. So if we click on new habit, I know we're getting an error right now because we haven't added the on change handler just yet, but everything is still working. So now let's go ahead and care for that. The first handler that we're going to care for is And the cancel button, this one is going to be pretty simple. We'll just go on click. Yep, that's correct. Because for this, I don't want the user to have the ability to input anything. So I'm using it so that it's just a quick, simple way to not allow the user to enter anything while I'm capturing the state of the loading or the saving of the new habit. That's why. I mean, it didn't have to necessarily use this method. There's a few that you could have went with. I just chose to use it, to your point, to try to keep things a little simpler for those that might not be familiar with some of the other techniques. That's all. It works just as anything else. Personal preference, no big deal. So with this one, if we click cancel, we're going to set the show model. We want to change that to false because at that point we don't want to see it if we click on cancel. So if I click cancel, it removes it because we're toggling the show model state from from true to false. And then now to care for the error message that we're getting. The first one is going to be in the input. We'll add on change. And then we'll set the habit name on change, and it will be e.target.value. Click save there. And then finally, we'll need to add a couple things to this button. The first one is going to be on click. We want to call the handle save function that we created just a moment ago. And we'll disable is creating. And then to show a loading state inside of the button, we're just going to pass in a little JavaScript. We'll say is creating. If it is creating, we want to show the loader to. And we'll set the class name to a width of 4 and a height of 4 for consistency. And the other thing I want to do is use some Tailwind CSS animation inline so that when we do call this button or click it, we get a loading animation. So let's go ahead and test it out. Right. That's exactly right. Yep. So all together, man, I've been coding for about 7.5, 8 years now. Started in a boot camp. No, I started picking up a book on Python. Bought a couple Udemy courses. Did a boot camp. I did new camp, boot camp, but I probably really got my footing completing computer science degree at Colorado Tech. So that's kind of what really kind of helped everything click. I don't know if it was the classroom environment or because I had been trying to learn on my own for so many years, and then once I finally sat down and really focused and had a little bit of accountability, it kind of changed things for me. But to answer your question, about 7.5, 8 years now. Yep. What about yourself? How far along are you, if you don't mind me asking? All right, so while we're doing that, I do want to show the new habits. I'm not going to worry about adding the views right now. I got to jump up and get ready for work, but I do want to make sure that it is working. So I think what we'll do, because right now we're only caring for if it is empty, but let's care for if we have a habit and we want to show something on screen. I think I'll just do, how do we want to do this? Mm, How far along are you, to mind me asking, ma'am? Mm, 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 mm. We'll go studying. Tudyng. We get our state and we see the habit created successfully. So now we just need to display it on screen. And that should be that function. So we'll go habits.map. For each one, we'll name it habit. We'll just name this div, give it a key of habit.id, and let's just do a div with habit.name, studying. Boom. So we see it's working perfect. So we have the ability to create a habit and also get a habit. So next we'll focus on the actual styling of the daily view and the progress view, and also showing the new habit button once we actually have a habit loaded and not just in an empty state. So I am going to check out for right now. For those that are available this evening, I'll see you this evening. Otherwise, I hope to see you tomorrow morning. Peace.